Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I'd like to discuss a medical right to repair bill in California. In a recent video, I discussed a medical right to repair bill in Texas. And I discussed it because an article came out on the Wall Street Journal that said that right to repair is bad for your health, where they were talking about how people who fix medical equipment, if this bill passes, may not be doing it to the FDA standards. This aggravated me because if you just do a 5-second Google search, you can find on the FDA's own website a report that said the continued availability of third-party entities to service and repair medical devices is critical to the functioning of the U.S. healthcare system. I don't expect you to believe or take my interpretation of this document at face value, so I will put a link to it down below. Now, there is a right to repair bill for medical devices not only in Texas, but there's also one in California. And when Texas and California are both proposing the same legislation at the same time, hell is frozen over, or there might just be something to it. And what this legislation does is it allows people who service medical equipment to get access to the parts and diagrams that are necessary to be able to do their job. Now, one of the reasons that bills like this don't get through is because a lot of people, when it comes to politics, are very cynical, very jaded. I'm not going to criticize you for that. I am too. And they don't say anything about it. And recently, a lot of the companies that were producing this medical equipment actually had their employees contact the legislature all at the same time to tell them why this bill is bad. I would love to be able to show you footage or even audio of it, but the California website apparently works as poorly as New York City's does that I showed you in the DCA video. It said loading player for the last 20 minutes. When I went to download the video or the audio, it started downloading at 8 kilobytes a second. And because I want to get this across before 2040, I'm not going to be able to download the video or audio and put it into this video. Hopefully the site works later. But this was working before, and you'd be able to listen. All these medical companies were having their employees call up and say, this law is bad, this law is bad, this law is bad, you can't pass this law. And so the legislature gets, bombarded with, 2 or 3 or 400 people or whatever that all call in saying this is bad, and then no citizens call and say that this is good. So what I'm doing with this video is I'm trying to kind of inspire you all to contact your legislators in California. And the way you can do that is by using this form at california.repair.org. So they pretty much put this thing together. It automatically figures out where you are, who your representative is, and where to direct it to, so that you don't have to do all that research on your own. You put in your name, all this information, and you write it. And again, anybody can use this, but obviously it's best if the people who live in California do this, because this is a California bill, California politicians, so they're really going to be interested in hearing from California voters, not people from everywhere else. Now, for those who are kind of curious, this is an interview that I did just a few weeks ago with someone who works for a company that does medical device repair. And one of the things that some of you said is that through the video, this guy sounds like he's about to shit his pants. And I could understand that he is nervous. Again, as I said, I really wish I could show it to you, but California website, these companies have their employees call the legislature to tell them why this is a bad bill. So taking a stance that is pro-right to repair in any way, you really are putting a target on your back for your job. And one of the things that he was explaining in this video, he was talking about an operating table. These things are, in the $20,000 to $40,000 range, and they have a function on it that allows you to move the patient. Like, are you going to do surgery here, here, here? And there's a little motor in there that controls that, and these are anywhere from like $600 to $1,000. And when he tries to contact the company that makes it to buy it, they will say that we can't sell it to you, we can only sell it to the manufacturer. And when he contacts the manufacturer, they say that's an obsolete table, we can't help you, even if it's only a few years old. So the answer is, rather than just fix the perfectly working device that just needs a new motor for this, again, we're not even talking about a car here, we're talking about like a table. Instead of being able to replace that motor for $600 to $1,000, they then have to purchase a new operating table for $20,000 to $40,000. And the stuff that I talk about that happens when I'm working on a MacBook or an iPhone, people will often say, well, just don't buy Apple, just don't buy Apple. And what I think most people don't understand is that maybe 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, that was an option. But at this point in time, this cancer has spread to every industry, every company in some way, shape, or form. So there's virtually no medical equipment companies that are not doing this now. And there was a few articles earlier this year, and I'd covered some of them, where they were trying to build ventilators, and it failed because of a lot of the way the legal system works when it comes to right to repair. Now, regardless of whether you are for private healthcare or single payer Medicare for all kind of system, we're both at different ends of the spectrum on how do we fund healthcare. But one thing that I think we can all agree on is that getting price gouged where a $1,000 repair becomes a $36,000 repair, that's going to add to the expense of healthcare, whether it's coming out of your taxes or whether it's coming out of, whatever you pay your insurance provider. We spend a lot of time arguing over how to pay for healthcare, but we never really address why it's so expensive to begin with. Whether you're paying for that $30,000 or $40,000 operating table out of your taxes or you're paying for it out of the premiums you pay to a private insurance provider, one way, shape, or form, you are still paying for that $30,000 operating table to be replaced. What I would like to focus on is why we are replacing $30,000 operating tables when we could simply be replacing a $600 motor that's inside of it. If we do more of that, then regardless of whether the money is taken out of your taxes, taken out of your wallet when you pay cash for a doctor's appointment, or taken out of your wallet via premiums you pay to private insurance providers, at the end of the day, there is potential for that number to be lower if the end result of what we're doing costs way less money. This is a bill that would help lower the cost of healthcare considerably, and it would also be a bill that helps ensure that there's more healthcare out there that's available. Again, if you have areas of your hospital, areas of your doctor's office that are down because you have to wait for a new device to come in for a week, 2 weeks, or a month, rather than fix the device that you have in a few days, that is going to gum up the works considerably. And I think that the COVID pandemic over the past year showed what happens when you're missing out on medical capacity. And they're also finding out what that's like in India, very sadly, at the moment. So this is a bill that I would highly suggest, if you've been following this channel for a while, if you agree with the concept of right to repair. If you live in California, all I would ask is just take a few minutes out of your day to contact your legislature and explain why you care about this. Please don't ask me in the comments what you should write. One of the criticisms that I've often had of lobbyists is that they're reading off a piece of paper. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't believe what they're talking about. They are parroting what their masters told them to say. And one of the things that separates the pro-right to repair people from the anti-right to repair people, I believe, is that we speak from the heart. We say what we believe. We're not just like looking up to some master or overlord to tell us what to think or tell us what to do. So you tell them why this is important to you in your own words. I'd highly appreciate it. Again, they are going to have lines out the door of people that are literally paid to oppose this bill. There are people that are probably getting a 5 or 6 figure salary, and part of their job that day is, hey, call the California legislature and tell them why this bill sucks. And if you're a legislator in California and you hear, 50 or 100 or 200 people against it and one person for it, the argument against it may win by just sheer numbers alone. So I'd highly appreciate it if you just took a little bit of time out of your day to read some of the stuff that I've included down below. And admittedly, so some of the reasons that I post some of this stuff is because I know it's going to piss you off. And admit it, pissing people off is a great motivator for them to actually do something about it. This article in the Wall Street Journal, if you read this, it's probably gonna make you mad. It's gonna make you mad. It's the most fear-mongering junk. And in Forbes, there was almost copy and paste of this opinion piece of right to repair is bad for your health. New right to repair legislation endangers California patients. And again, in this article that I'll link to down below, I'm not gonna go over it. It's a copy and paste of the Wall Street Journal one, pretty much, but is that they're never going to show you this FDA report here. They're never going to show you this thing where they say that objective evidence indicates that many OEMs and third-party entities provide high-quality, safe, and effective servicing of medical devices, and the continued availability of these entities to service them is critical to the functioning of the U.S. healthcare system. They're never going to tell you that. The opposition lobbyists just have nothing to say when this document is brought up, and I think that document would be a really important thing to show to legislators, because what they're doing is they're trying to fearmonger and say that if you let Lewis fix a highly advanced robot in a hospital that's doing surgery, that people are going to die. And again, at the end of the day, just because this bill passes That does not mean that a hospital is going to hire a MacBook repair person when you consider all the liability concerns, reputation concerns, everything else. Like, a hospital is not going to hire a MacBook repair dude. They're not going to hire a car mechanic to fix highly advanced medical equipment. But when just a basic thing that allows the chair to go up and down, when you're looking at $1,000 job versus a $30,000 to $40,000 job, just for the reason that the company that makes the device tells the OEM, don't sell this part to anybody else, that's not good. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't move us forward at all as society. So that's it for today. I want to apologize to the algorithm. I'm discussing something that actually matters to me, that I care about, so I understand that you're going to make sure this video only goes out to 10,000 of 1.56 million subscribers. Love to be proven wrong, but one of the things about being a pessimist is when you get proven wrong, the world is a better place than you thought, which is great. But yeah, anyway, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you learned something. And algorithm, I'm watching you. I'm watching you.